tonight is, it's Thursday, April 18th, 6 o'clock. We're going to call to order the Board of Finance meeting. I've been asked to announce and to remind everybody that the preliminary budget hearing is next Thursday, April 25th at 7:30. It will be in the Center Gymnasium. The way we used to do it, we're going back to the gymnasium. However, the annual town meeting, which is Monday, May 20th at 7:30, will be at the Amity High School cafeteria. So do two different locations. We will announce it again, but we just want to make sure everybody knows. Okay, any public comment, Gay?
No public comment.
Okay. Administrative officers report. Tony?
Thank you. I've been a monthly report through the first 3 quarters of the fiscal year. We have a slightly under $1.2 million year-end budget surplus. As you all know, we have an allocation of fund balance for $800,000, which essentially means that our fund balance in actual terms will probably increase slightly at the end of the year by about a little under $400,000. It'll bring us a little over 15% of our annual expenditures. The major contributors to the surplus continue to be the interest income, which is a surplus of just under $400,000 due to higher than anticipated interest rates, and intergovernmental revenue of $241,000 from the state municipal revenue sharing account, which I'm told may not survive this budget process. I know a lot of the other towns have not budgeted for that because it's really not known whether you'll receive it until after the budget is adopted by the state. On the expense side, we have a cost of living adjustment that we are presenting this evening for a few of our departments, maybe half of our departments, mostly smaller departments. There are some larger departments that may be able to fund the cost of living adjustments that were awarded in December of 2.5%. Through either attrition, vacant positions, injured workers' compensation injuries, or other items that may allow other departments to fund the cost of living adjustments. So for now, we're going to just do a few of the roughly half the departments. Police department contract has not been settled, so the sworn officers has not been settled. We are currently, we're anticipating, when we created the budget, a $90,000 reimbursement from the Board of Education for the school resource officer, but they no longer use a Woodbridge officer in that role, an active Woodbridge officer in that role. So as a result, the budgets was possibly going to be short that, but they've had a lot of vacancies this year, so I think they should be okay. I don't think that'll be an issue in their budget this year. Benefits are largely generated surplus largely due to restructuring of the town's retirement plan, which is done up at the state of Connecticut, and so that saves us about $185,000. We do have some deficit in healthcare due to some coverage changes. And finally, Amity reduced our March payment by $462,000. So those are the major items. It's mainly the Amity surplus, the interest income, and the state grant. Those 3 items are $1 million, right, basically. So.
Any questions for Tony? Comments?
2 questions, Tony. One, the MRSA issue. You said that may not survive this
State grant round.
So is that for next year's budget?
Correct, for next year's
Okay.
budget, right. So we didn't budget for it next year.
Right.
Simply because I was hearing that it might not happen.
Okay, I just
Yeah.
wanted to confirm that
Yeah,
it wasn't going
yeah.
to hit this year's budget. And
Correct.
then 2, this is my monthly question about whether we're charging at the EV.
We are.
Finished.
Yes, we
Like,
just
were we
started
actually
charging.
accepting revenue now?
Yep. For the one
Fantastic.
down here, we're accepting revenue now. It's up and it's live, and we've already had a few people use it.
Oh.
And it's interesting. It comes with like a dashboard of, how much we've collected, who's used it, how much carbon dioxide we've saved the earth. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. And so the library is a little older, the charger, so it's missing a part that we hope to get in the next couple days, and that hopefully that one will be up and running in like a week or so.
So,
It's currently down because we had like taken it apart to get it running, and we're missing a part, so it's currently not operational. at
I
the
assume
moment.
you're not prepared to report on the revenue.
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
What would it cost for a new one? Say, if it's that old.
You need it, instead of
whatever it is,
updating this one,
Would
yeah.
it be cheaper maybe to update it? And
If
you
this
wouldn't
doesn't
have-
work.
You wouldn't have recurrent, with.
Yeah, if this fix doesn't work,
We
then
might
that's, we
find
may
out.
have to do that.
Wow, so interesting.
I know the entire amount was maybe 12,000,
For each
yeah,
installed.
installed. But that includes the electrical and some things we might not have to do if we replace the
You already
unit.
have everything,
Right,
you're just-
so maybe it's
you're
half
just
that,
swapping it out.
$5,000-6,000 maybe?
I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's just something that,
Massaro just had one installed last year, so we should probably compare with that if need be.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, if
good idea.
this doesn't work, then, we'll definitely look into it.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Thanks, Tony.
Instead of waiting for
Okay,
things
sure.
or whatever.
Okay, Tony, are you gonna report on the Board of Education?
I didn't make it to the finance committee. I know they just said that they're anticipating a little bit of surplus, so.
Did
Yeah,
you wanna
have
go
more
over that, or
details.
is there anything to highlight?
No,
Okay.
nothing to highlight.
All right. So we have some funding requests that we're gonna talk about. The first one is 2324-16 for $3,000. We always say yes to this one.
We do.
You wanna go ahead?
Certainly, due to the generosity of the Bethwood Baseball League, of which Dwight is the president. They donate $3,000 to the town to help with temporary toilets and overtime related to league tournaments, which I hear
Yeah.
do very well.
So I will entertain a motion for the approval of line item transfer 2324-16 for $3,000, and I think it's only appropriate that Dwight make the motion.
Second.
No,
No,
you make the motion.
make the motion.
There you go.
I'll second it.
There you go. Perfect.
Unanimously
Okay.
seconded, yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No one's opposed. Good. Thank you. Thank you, Dwight.
Thank you,
That's
Dwight.
lovely.
Thank you,
Very,
Dwight.
very happy with that.
I'm gonna I'll make the motion and then we'll discuss it. I'll make a motion to approve line item transfer 2324-17 in the amount of $15,000. Is there a second?
Second.
Tony, you wanna tell us a little bit about this?
Sure. Warren Connors, who's our tree warden, is tasked with addressing any dead or dying trees that are along the road, mainly along the roadside, that he feels could be a hazard. And so, as he does that each year, depending on his volume, he may need additional funds, and so that's the request. He's got some additional trees he needs to remove before the end of the year, and he's taking it from sand, salt, and materials, which thankfully we didn't have to use a lot of this year.
That's good.
But these are our guys doing this.
No, we contracted out
this
to
is
a third party.
contracted out.
We do not have a in-house tree crew.
Wow. That's actually, yeah, okay, so that's
I
not
think
bad.
I just, once again, want to compliment every department that does find some money in their budget. Once again, it happens, and it's a
Right.
really good thing for
Right,
us. that
I
they can
agree.
Do that, so thank you to them.
We try to encourage departments
Yeah.
to hold off on certain expenditures until they're good majority of the way through the year, so that if something comes up unanticipated, they can fund it within their budget, especially the larger ones.
Any other discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No abstentions, okay. Tony, why don't you tell us about 2324-18 before we make the motion on this one? It's a
Okay.
little more complicated.
Okay, so in the capital budget, we had funds for the reevaluation for the assessor. And so because it's for FY '25 and you can't start until July 1, that would have made us late on our revaluation. So what this does is funds the first phase of that, which is startup project management, project support for the first phase of the project, which will then keep us in line to finish by February 1st, which is the date she has to file the grand list with the OPM. And we have also reduced the request for next year. So it's essentially just shifting it
Shifting
from
the
one year
money
to the
around.
other. Yeah.
All right, I'll entertain a motion for the approval of funding request 2324-18 in the amount of $6,000.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? I'm sorry,
Aye.
any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, sorry. And the next one is 2324-19. Do you want to tell us about this?
Sure. This is to, as I indicated earlier, this is to fund the cost of living adjustments that were awarded to AFSCME union personnel and non-union personnel of 2.5%, which, because that was not included in department personnel budgets for this fiscal year. So this includes a lot of the smaller departments, does not include building official, public works, waste management, building maintenance, recreation, parks, human services, or library. Those we continue to monitor to see if they may have it within their own budget to fund. If they don't, then we'll address it later on in the year.
And these dollars are coming out of contingency?
Correct.
I assume.
Right.
Okay, okay. Any questions? All right, well, I'll entertain a motion for the approval of funding request 2324-19 in the amount of $62,121.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No abstentions, okay. Tony, you want to tell us about this one?
Sure.
It's pretty straightforward.
This is to rekey the locks in the library, and the last time the library was keyed was 1999. I think because there's a concern as to how many keys there are, particularly for the exterior of the library to get into the library, and we currently now have the automatic electronic locks on the library. So if we can rekey the library, then we won't distribute keys. We just give electronic locks, electronic keys to staff. And then
So
when they
a
leave,
fob, you mean?
A fob, yeah.
Yeah.
And then when they leave, we just disconnect the fob. So it's pretty simple. And so I think this is just for security purposes at the library. Eric feels it would be something that's about time to do, and he has it within his budget to do it.
And these are all exterior locks?
No, there's
covered
also
by
some interior ones.
also?
Yeah, some of
Okay.
the offices. We don't have electronic locks on the interior, but there's some interior locks also.
I think 1999 is when the addition was built, if I'm
Correct.
not mistaken.
That's correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
that's when it was completed.
okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion for the approval of line item transfer 2324-20 in the amount of $4,585.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any other further discussion?
Yeah, that's fine.
Questions? All
Is
in
this
favor?
something
Yeah.
we need to get bids on? Like, can we just?
No, not for below 5,000.
Perfect. Thank you. I didn't know that.
Good question.
It's 10,000 is when we get bids. 5,000 is we try to get quotes.
Okay.
And so
2,000 you pay for it. Okay, all right, good.
Yeah.
All right.
Is it this costly because it's
yeah, they're you mean for the keys?
Yes.
Yeah, because they have to replace all the cylinders and all the locks, and they usually get Medco keys for some of them, so you can't copy them.
Numbered keys.
Numbered keys, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did the same thing up at Acorn. Same
So
thing.
I have a question. Do all employees have keys or only a certain staff level?
So all employees have certain employees. Now, I don't think every single one, but I think most of the regular employees, of full timers, have
Have a key?
access.
Okay,
Similar to like all the employees here have access to this building.
right,
It records when you come in, you beep in,
right.
and and then we monitor it. When someone leaves, we just take them off.
Yeah, okay.
But internally, they just have a handful of people that have keys to the.
And you can reprogram the fobs usually
Yeah, we
as well,
reprogram
right?
them,
Yeah, okay, okay.
And it's at the guts of it are at the firehouse when you put the firehouse in.
Yeah.
And now we all use it.
Okay. Oh,
And we use it over there too, so in and access all around, so.
Yeah, use it. Use it not only at the firehouse, but town hall, the center building, the
Yeah.
library, and
Yeah.
the public works facility.
And they work great.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah.
any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No abstentions. Okay. I think that was the last one on the
Correct.
fund transfers. Okay. All right, we have some minutes to approve. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the special a special Board of Finance meeting, March 20th, 2024. Is there a motion for that?
So moved.
Second?
Second,
Any additions, corrections, thoughts? Eyes dotted? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. I'm gonna abstain.
And also the Board of Finance meeting, March 26, 2024, which was also a special meeting, correct? Is there a motion to approve those minutes? March 26th.
So moved.
Second? Okay. Any discussion, corrections, additions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Nobody's opposed. Is that okay? Just the 20th and the 26th?
Yeah.
Okay.
that's it.
Okay. First Selectmen's report. Sir?
Thank you. In terms of activities, as the board and First Selectman Finance Officer were working on, first I wanted to mention that we arranged, in light of the fact that we have new members on the board of Selectmen in particular, we arranged to have the attorneys who are involved with the Open Communities lawsuit come in and provide us some information and updates as relates to the case in executive session. That was done at our last meeting, and that was done in conjunction with the Town Planning and Zoning Committee as well, with the folks from that group as well. And it went well, as you might expect. It's not much I can say, but I just wanted to let you know that we have had the discussions on that.
Thank you.
And we continue our progress as relates to identifying a single partner to work with for the Country Club of Woodbridge property master plan. And we're down to 2 firms at this point in time that we're looking to bring in again to interview, and we'll then take the information that we gather from those 2 and bring it to the board for a final decision on who we'll work with going forward. We're also doing the same type of process though there's less candidates, for the town planning resource. This is specifically someone who can help us with not only economic development, but just a general plan from a town perspective, and somebody who's looking at a number of the projects. As I go through some of this, you'll see there are a number of these projects that someone like this could help us in terms of keeping them moving forward, and also make sure that we're, from a financial standpoint, we're doing what's best with the long-term thinking, as well as what we're looking for at this point in time. And to that end, we've got the school building committee, the Beecher building committee that charge has been established, and we are bringing members on board in terms of the Beecher School. Now, there's two parts of what they're charged with doing. One is obviously completing the projects that we've already approved, and those that are scheduled to happen this summer. And that's the roof project as well as the grounds project. So we're looking forward to that. And they're also looking specifically at what we're going to need from a space perspective at Beecher as we move forward. So they're working with some consultants in identifying different partners that we're going to work with, and what needs to be done from a feasibility study standpoint with that facility, as well, just to make sure that we have the space that the kids need for their education. We also have the building committee for the community center has been very actively engaged. That ties very much so into the storage and training facility that we have for the fire department, specifically because we need to move the equipment that's currently in the old firehouse into the new storage. And I keep saying this to folks because a lot of folks don't realize, when that firehouse was built 16 years ago, whenever it was built, there was a shed, or there was a storage facility that was supposed to have been done at that time. It was never done, which is a reason we've had equipment over at the old firehouse for as long as we have. We need, in order to complete the community and cultural center project, we need to move that equipment over to the storage and training facility that we're looking at for the fire department. You'll be hearing more of that, because it's kind of a domino type of a effect in terms of what we're doing and how we're doing it. And we might have to reallocate some funding that you folks have already talked about in the past, in order to make all of this happen in a timely manner, considering that the funding we have for the fire department, for the community and cultural center, there's a time limit on it. So we have to make sure that we complete these projects in time to utilize the grant dollars that we have available for us to use, and they're significant. It's over $2 million that we want to use in order to get that done.
Right.
So the Center Building Committee is slated to meet with the Board of Selectmen in May. Is it, Dwight, or is it
We
June?
haven't set a time yet.
We're looking
We haven't
for,
said anything.
yeah, so we're looking for an opportunity to meet with the building committee there so they can present to us different phases of the plan, so we can identify the different costs associated with different phases. Right now, there's a big lump sum number that's being used, and that's kind of restrictive, prohibitive, whatever word you want to use, but we want to kind of break it down so we understand specifically what will be done when and how much each one will cost. So we're breaking it down along those lines so we can truly plan it out. 2030 committee, LOCZIP grant, there's a lot of information passing on that. Rather than the $11 million that it originally came in at, it looks like it'll probably be about $9 million. One of the components of that is a traffic light on Bradley Road, which is something that I know people have been looking for.
And I'm going to interrupt you here.
Please.
As the co-chair of the 2030 committee, I want to give credit to Tony Genovese because he has just done a remarkable job on this.
Couldn't agree with you more. Couldn't agree with you more. So this is, we're getting closer and closer to a decision on that, which is very exciting. We have funding that's set aside because there is a portion of that that we would need to be responsible for. So we do have funding put aside, set aside for that as well. But we're excited about it specifically because it looks like it's getting closer and closer to decision time, and we've got our fingers crossed because that's a deeply meaningful opportunity from our perspective in the business district to make a tangible difference in terms of what happens down there. Along with that, we're also, we did receive a call back from the Connecticut Department of Transportation, and they do recognize that there is a project that was set up for the Exit 59, Litchfield Turnpike, portion of our district. So the planner for that will be meeting with us next week, and we're hoping to get a little bit more of an update. So we'll have something probably for your next meeting in terms of what we're looking at there, and we're very hopeful that'll be much less,
Who do
much
you know
more.
up there? Congratulations.
So that's a big thing right now, but we're hoping that they're not going to tell us 30
Wonderful.
years ago.
Hopefully they'll say 30 years
Yeah,
ago.
you know, which has been their standard, you know, so the standard
That's
time.
wonderful.
But if we can make these come in kind of jointly, it could be a big impact in that area there in terms of traffic, particularly since we're really looking to see what we can do to grow that area as much as we can, as much as possible. Coupop, I've asked Coupop specifically, they've been doing considerable amount of work as relates to different properties, and Javier knows this because of his work on that commission. And at this point in time, I've asked them to identify those properties that are either earmarked very specifically for building or are not earmarked but have no restrictions, and they could be properties that should be under consideration for some action in regards to them. One of the properties they brought in the last meeting was 38 Milan, which is a property that is strictly for a one-family. It's restricted so that we can only build a home there. So we're looking to see if there's any benefit to the town to do that, or what we would have to do in order to make that happen. But just what I wanted to bring you, make sure you're aware of, is that Coupop is working very closely with our office at this point in time to identify different properties along these lines. And hopefully every month they'll be providing us at least one piece of property that we want the board to consider. And it's just basically to assess what we have and determine whether there's some action that we should be taking with what we have. This is not with doing anything with open space or anything that's restricted along those lines. It's also not specifically to see if there's properties we can sell, although that's certainly an option that we would look at. What else?
That's enough. I'm tired just listening to you. Oh my God.
I did
Woodbridge
mention-
is on the move.
I did mention the grant, we may have to reallocate funding as far as the grants that we do have are concerned, so you'll be hearing about that going forward. And we're also working on the strategic plan that Beth and her team had put together, the strategic committee Sheila and David have been working on, and we're updating it at this point in time. We expect in the May-June timeframe to have a final document. And the reason I mention that is because we will be using this as we go forward during our meetings. We're very specifically going to tie some of the activities that we go over at our meetings very specifically to the strategic plan. We will be referencing the strategic plan in terms of what our agenda, what we put on our agenda going forward. So that's, I'm excited about getting that to a point where we feel it's set, and we will make it public, and we'll share with everyone and go from there. So
Can I
that's.
ask one question?
Certain,
The
please.
dispatch, is that project
yes.
moving forward,
It's-
or
I think it's
you
pretty
kinda
much
lost
complete.
it in the middle?
Pretty much
Really?
complete.
Yeah.
Matter of
Wonderful.
fact, I was
This-
actually going there.
Where are they located over there? I don't know if this is really a finance issue, but just
They
curious.
originally were located in the back,
Right.
at the back of the building, but
Yeah.
it was completed enough, so at this point in time, they are fully in that newly renovated space.
So it's where they used to
Where they,
live
it
Right.
is still where they
Correct.
were.
Excellent.
It is
Okay.
still where they,
That's great.
at the original
Good,
place,
good.
but there's
I don't know
better
if that was
sites.
part of Dwight's committee, or, how to,
Mhm.
Any other
Great.
questions for Mika? I gotta tell you, anybody who says that nothing happens in Woodbridge,
totally.
good heavens. Any other questions?
Mika, the only thing that I'd like to comment in terms of the project that's going on with Coopop right
Yes.
now is to keep in mind the Board of Finance policy about have one-time revenues,
Mhm.
right? So items that are revenues that are recognized from one-time, like sale of properties and that thing, really shouldn't be allocated to fund operating or ongoing expenses. So I just want, I know they're gonna be coming through the list to look for opportunities as they arise, but that should also be kind of in the back of all our minds, that we have that policy, we should adhere to that policy, going through and structuring our budget in a way that is sustainable, not just Band-Aids here and there and, playing whack-a-mole. So
Understand.
I know you know that, but
No, and I appreciate you mentioning it. We'll make sure that, what specifically the policy states, to make sure that we stay within the confines of what it says. But I'm not sure that it's as restrictive as you're indicating.
yeah.
You're making this comment as a member of Coopop. Do
No,
I
I'm
understand that?
making as a member of the, we just went over
No, I
this policy
understand, I understand.
at the last
Yep.
meeting.
But I thought I heard Mika say that you're a member of Coopop.
I was.
He
Oh, you
was.
were?
Yeah.
Oh, you were.
As a result of his previous
Okay, yeah.
activities on
Yeah,
Coopop.
well, I think the point that you're bringing up is really a good one, and as we said when we started reviewing all our policies, it's for all of us to kind of come up to date with what these policies say, because we haven't looked at them, and anything that needs changing or amending, we'll go forward with that post-budget.
I will say there's a fair number of towns and school districts that used COVID money to fund operating costs. And then, what happens? You have a fiscal cliff,
Yep.
Right.
where all of a sudden the money's gone, and you have these operating costs.
Right,
Now you're in trouble.
yeah.
Bridgeport, that happened in Bridgeport, and there's some other city, I remember,
Yeah.
that ran into
Really?
the same
Yeah.
issue.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
But it
any-
is something that Tony and I, will, thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah, sure.
It's very important.
Yeah, no, it's a
appreciate
good
that.
point, it's a good
Right.
point.
Like
Any
what-
other
Yeah.
questions?
Oh, got that, yeah.
Any other questions or
Just
comments?
one quick one,
Yeah,
Mika.
Tom.
I know that I don't know if it's reconstituting or changing the directive for the Beecher Building Committee. Have they been specifically tasked with looking at the pool area that we've talked about?
That is an element of the feasibility study that they will be doing, exactly, and that's a very important aspect of what ultimately will happen with the pool.
Right, I just want to make sure we're out there saying we're moving forward, because you had
Yes.
said that before. I
Yes.
just want to make it clear.
Okay, any other liaison reports? I have a question for everybody. Are we all planning on attending the preliminary budget hearing next week? Yeah, we're all gonna be
Yes.
here, okay, so we know that now. Okay, anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn?
so moved.
You were right on top of that one.
That was quick.
You don't need a second, we're out of here.
Okay.
Thank you.